comments from the staff?
That certainly is going to be a tough act to follow. I'd like to start off by, well, Madam Chair, Madam President, members of the board, and welcome new members of the board. You certainly picked a good meeting to start with. I'd like to start with our minutes, because I think our minutes lead into some of the issues that he was talking about. The Staff Senate really wants shared governance. They want it strong, they want it to remain, and we had this discussion at the last board meeting with those board members that weren't here yet. There were 35 people who attended our last Staff Senate meeting, and the minutes there are from the March meeting. Now, they all didn't come for well, I'd like to say it all came for Yash, which was the first agenda item, but we were talking about the pay and compensation study and the retirement offering. And so that, of course, anytime we talk about pay and compensation, it definitely brings out a big crowd. But we also talked about the employment of contract employees, the policy. We discussed that because it was coming to the board, and one of the processes is to come through Staff Senate first. And you know, there wasn't, overall, everyone supported it. There was no vote against it. But I will talk about that trust issue, which I've mentioned before as I've come up here, and actually some of those trust issues even predate Dr. Guzman. And I think in this particular instance, and I'm one of the people who are going to be getting one of the contracts, and I think even Clark mentioned this, I try to lead this Staff Senate by saying, let's follow positive intent. And, you know, if something's proposed, assume positive intent until such time as you don't see it there. So even within this policy, people were saying, and similar things to what Clark was saying, that, oh, this is just an attempt to terminate people. And I said, no, a contract employee is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for something good or it can be used for something bad. So again, let's assume that until something proves us wrong, it's going to be used for something good. We have not obviously seen as a staff the issues that Clark just presented. I can say, and this is my opinion because I can't represent something that hasn't been discussed yet, but when staff talks to me, staff is concerned that, but not so much, to paraphrase, most of them will say what is being attempted to be accomplished, the changes are all good, but there's a concern among staff about speed of implementation, how well communication is going to occur, and how transparent it's going to be. So again, how we do these things will be as important as what we do. And so far, you know, and to be honest, that reorganization did come through Staff Senate, but it only impacts academics for the most part, and so it did not raise the passion that it does on the faculty side. But these are things that the staff is concerned about. There is a talk about Staff Senate talking about issues about, you know, the how, and we may do that at our next meeting. I don't know. We haven't set our agenda yet. But I would say, from a staff perspective, again, my opinion, that the what that's being going on and being proposed is everyone thinks favorably of it, but there's concern about speed and how and stuff like that. I don't know if you have any other specific. Oh, and one of the things that was brought up were the admins being concerned and admins being closed out and not being replaced. We have talked about, and this was at our last meeting, the pay and compensation study. So I think the admins that have been affected are waiting for the implementation of the pay and compensation study, because we haven't seen the completion of that. I'm making an assumption that if a department, let's say, is 0 to 100 staff people, they may qualify for one admin. Over 100, I'm just making these numbers up, may get 2. And then that stuff becomes clarified in our pay and compensation study. So I'm counseling people, just wait, see what this pay and compensation, because we're actually pinning a lot of our what's going to occur here on our pay and compensation study, at least in terms of fairness and equity to staff. And you know, so far we've been told, and it looks like that's what's going to be the result of this pay and compensation study, but it hasn't been implemented yet, and so we'll reserve our judgment on that, but we're all optimistic about it. So anyway, That's probably more than I thought I was going to have to present. If there are any questions, I'd be glad. And I do want to commend Clark. I'm glad I'm not in the position of having to do that. And hopefully, maybe there'll be some lessons learned from that, and we'll move forward.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Bob. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alex?
Yes.
Look forward to your presentation.
Thank you. Well, on a lighter note, Madam Chair, members of the board, we have a campus-wide barbecue that we're facilitating. It's a spring fling event that we do, and so we'll have some good music and some good food out there for everybody, faculty, staff, students, administration. Some of the comments we've gotten before when we've had this event is, you know, from everybody, is that it really, you know, when people walk onto the campus and they see everybody in the courtyard, you know, and we have this huge barbecue and the food, it just really feels like a college campus, and it really feels, you know, there's that fun aspect of it that I think is important too, you know, because we all work so hard throughout the year, and it's kind of just something nice to have at the end of the year. So we have that coming up. We also have the men's conference, the men's leadership conference on Friday. Addresses things like machismo, role reversal, and, you know, just really positive, fantastic speakers that are going to come and do some workshops. We're also and we've also extended an invitation to IAIA for this men conference, and also we invited them to the Spring Fling as well, just to try to get some more collaboration. You know, we're neighbors, and I think it's just a great idea. It's also mentioned by Chris Abates. I think he spoke with someone from IAIA, and he thought that would be a good place to kind of invite them over and hang out with them. We have our minutes. I think we have all the minutes currently in our packets, and, you know, if anyone wants to see those, we post those on Jack. We also have them on our Facebook, I believe. There's some a lot of fun stuff that the clubs do, and it's always very interesting to kind of see, especially now. I think we have something like 35 or 36 clubs, which is about 10 more than we had last year. So it's really interesting to see what some of the clubs' developments are and what projects they're working on. So I invite everyone to look at those. Aside from that, I'm really happy for everyone's passion, you know, regarding some of these changes and things that are going on. And I think it's important to address these issues and bring these forth, as hard as it may be sometimes. But just from a student perspective, and that's what I'm here to give, I think that there's a morale aspect of it too that needs to be considered when it comes to things that are mentioned to students, whether it's faculty. I mean, I'm not really too sure, but, you know, it seems like we should just consider professionalism and morale more, and understand that, you know, I think these issues are fantastic, and I'm glad I get to hear them, and you know, that they're going to get worked on. I just really think that that's something to consider, that distinction between student and faculty relationship, and what might be said, you know, in the hallway, in the bathroom, or mentioned to these students. So just, you know, something to consider.
Thank you so much, Alex. I want you to rejoice in what happened yesterday with the groundbreaking of HEC. You were one of the first ones who lobbied so hard for this particular project, and now it's becoming a reality. So I hope you take some credit for that. And you have the two cutest little kids I've ever seen.
There's a really cute picture in the Albuquerque Journal of my little man.
We both wanted to steal them. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Next item is the consent agenda, and I'd like to remove the SFCC policy 441 because we have two new members who haven't had an opportunity for a first reading, and usually the final reading comes after there's been opportunity for discussion and comment. So if I could have a motion to move it to action items removed from consent agenda.
Well, I'd like to remove that policy item, table that policy item.
Okay.
I'd also like to remove the early retirement incentive plan to discuss it.
Let's do one at a time, if that's all right. If we could do the table of policy first, if I could have a motion for that.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor? Aye. It passes. The second one is the early. Yes, please.
If I may, we did a study, and we were helped by the Association of Community Colleges on how many community colleges in the state had contract employees, and out of 7, Santa Fe Community College was the only one who only had 5 employees.
I think there's a point of order.
Okay.
If this was tabled, I don't think it's open for discussion. Is that correct?
The motion was to table and it was tabled.
It was to table, but you two need it passed. But you need the information regarding,
When it's tabled, you don't discuss it.
okay.
So here's the information.
There's the information, and
Thank you.
I will make the information
Yeah.
available to the public.
And I think next time we can vote on it. You'll have an opportunity to study that and discuss it in maybe the work
My understanding
session.
was that it was tabled to take off the
For now.
the consent agenda, but could be discussed in discussion.
Actually, no, it's been
No?
tabled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, what we'll do is probably the next work session, it will be a matter of discussion. You'll have the information that you have been handed, and then we'll vote next month.
Thank you.
I presume that will be the case. Okay, Linda, you have another.
My motion is to remove the early retirement incentive plan from the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Linda?
Do you have something to say about that, Joe?
Yes, I'd like to hear some. Actually, I'd like to hear also why Linda is wanting to remove it.
Well, I think that the early retirement incentive plan was discussed with the board in February and March. And from the executive session, I was given a go-ahead to develop something. And that's why we put it on the consent agenda. I think that I'm very interested in why Ms. Siegel would like to take that off.
Because I'd like to discuss it and I'd like the public to hear about it. It's not.
Why don't we,
I'd like the public to hear about it. It's not a secret.
can you discuss it now?
Pardon?
Can we discuss it now?
Sure,
Like we do everything?
sure.
So what are your concerns?
So I don't really, I'm not going to express any concerns about it. I just think it's important that that we have this in an open session and we talk about that we're offering incentives for people to leave the college if they meet certain criteria, and that it's going to cost the college $600,000 perhaps, maybe more, maybe less, depending on how many people take the retirement plan.
And then how much will it save along the way?
Yeah, I think we have a tentative list of people and their salaries, and that may be up to $1 million. We don't know. I mean, we don't have the exact numbers on anything. It just, we have done these retirement incentives in the past, and I just think that when we're talking about the people's money, we should tell the people what we're doing with the money. So that's all I wanted to do with this retirement incentive. It does concern me that a lot of our people who have a lot of history with the college may all leave at once, and that could be a problem. But that's really up to you all to take advantage of this opportunity.
Well, currently we have, Madam Chair, we have 21 that have expressed an interest in the retirement incentive plan. And out of the 21, only 10 would be retiring by next fall. So I think Clark doesn't have the information that he needs. And I will make this, I wanted to show it to the board first. And so only 10 out of the 21 would be retiring next fall. And the, in general, community colleges and colleges throughout the country in the last 5 years have done this. And in our criteria, it is only those who qualify to retire. It is not an early retirement, it is a retirement incentive. And that is being done throughout the country because, as you said this afternoon, we may have less money from the state next year and the year after. And a strategy that colleges and universities and companies throughout the world do is to incentivize retirement, and therefore you are able to hire people who then are much less expensive. And out of the 300 employees, if we lose 10, I really I can figure that one out percentage-wise, but it is minimal to the loss. And in one sense, you usually expect, because this is, many of our faculty and staff are able to retire, you're going to see in the next 10 years retirements that increase because the baby boomers will be leaving the workforce. And so this was done so that we can know ahead of time, and Rachel, our counsel, helped me in working this out, so that we would have the first 3 months, and then that would help us plan for next year and the year after.
Great.
Is there any negative impact? Yeah, no negative impact at all. Kathy, you have
Madam Chair, I'd like to call the question, because I think the motion on the floor is to move this from the consent agenda, and I think that maybe the debate that we're entering into now is not germane to that. So I'd like to call the question for us to vote on that motion, and then maybe we can go up and finish the items on the consent agenda if this is moved down to the next item on the agenda.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so I need a motion to move it.
I have a motion and a second. I second it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Now I'll move the consent calendar with the minutes on it.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, now let's, we have tabled the policy, so we have to vote on the early retirement incentive plan. So I need a motion.
I move the approval of the early retirement incentive plan.
Second.
Any discussion, further discussion, questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right, non-consent, we have contractors for the solar photovoltaic array. Alex? This applause is something new. We've never had more applause before. Thank you.
Madam Chair, board members, President, everybody, good evening. And I would like to ask Bob to join me. And Randy, since you are here as well, okay, sounds fine. The process to select a contractor who is going to help us to finish the design and build this photovoltaic array project has been finished. And as a result of that process, well, first let me tell you that this process consisted in 3 phases. First, we put out a request for qualifications. Then we request for technical and cost proposals. And then we had presentations by the finalists. After all that process, we ended up with 3 teams, 3 firms, and the one that the selection committee recommends to help us with this project is Bradbury Stam and Positive Solar. And I don't know if there are questions.
Board Member Siegel, I believe Positive Solar is a Santa Fe company.
Thank you.
I knew you would like that.
Yes.
You've been trained.
Yeah, that is true. Yes.
So just to clarify, this is a collaboration with the two
With
companies?
the two firms.
Okay.
Yes. Bradbury Stam is a general contractor who has their offices in Albuquerque. And Positive Energy is 100% Santa Fe local, born and raised. and we believe that this team is a great team, and they're going to help us to get the best of this project.
And what you need from us is a motion to authorize the president to enter into negotiations.
Yes.
An actual contract.
An actual contract, okay.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, any discussion, any questions for Alex or Bob? Okay, those in favor? Aye, motion passes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to skip the next one, and we have the roofing project. Mary D.?
Coming back to that.
Should I put all over with everything? It's usually, I'm usually up here a lot sooner before.
Don't worry, you'll be there a long time.
I'm going to be here a long time.
Did you bring a pillow?
I do want to say, okay, so let's see, where are we on the solar array? And let me get to it. Nope.
Yeah, no, you're
The last one.
roofing
Excuse me.
project.
Roofing.
You're the roofing.
Roofing project.
Fitness. And
I know, I'm trying to work my little thing here, but you know what I do? Whenever I can't make the iPad thing quick enough, I have my paper. Hold on. I don't know, the buttons I'm pushing. Amy, why don't you come fix this for me? Okay. That's why she got the award.
It's recommending the governing board approve $1,000 for $1 million for the fitness center in the West Wing parapet.
Okay, I'm just getting my bearings here. Okay, I'm here. Madam Chair, members of the board, we went, every year we go for our capital project requests, and we had request money for roofing. We need to replace two roofs. One has come to the end of its useful life, and that's the fitness center, and the other one, the West Wing roof, is coming close to its useful life. We wanted about $1.25 million to do this. We didn't receive all the funds from the legislature, but we did receive $1 million. We still need to go before the HED to get approval on a project of this size. That and the solar array will have to go to the HED to get approval. So we're requesting that the board approve the project to move forward. We'll be coming back next month about the contractor and that sort of thing to move through the summer, but we're just asking for approval to move forward on the project and go submit to the HED.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Questions? Those in favor?
Question, so
Okay.
does this resolution mean that we're approving an extra $250,000?
No.
No.
We'll only go up to the $1 million that we received from the GEO bond, from the November GEO bond. So we'll be using GEO bond money for that, and we won't be going beyond. We will, however, be putting this as a request, the next roof, in the next session to finish the roofing, and I'm sure we'll be able to get the rest of the roofing done and do that in the
So
summer.
the 1.25 was to cover more than this?
Yes.
We're doing less because we got less money?
Yes. We were going to do the fitness center roof and the West Wing, and so we didn't receive enough funds, so we're just going to complete the fitness center. And we'll have a little bit left over to do parapets and that sort of thing on the other roof, but so we're just requesting up to the funds we received.
And that's part of the motion, right? The parapets?
Yes.
Yes, it's all in there.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I need a motion.
I made it. She seconded.
Oh, yes, okay, you're ahead of me. Any discussion, any further questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Yes, stay here. Okay, Madam Chair, the next one is the approval of the financial report. For new board members, we present a financial report every month. And some of our board members are numbers people, and some of them like to read. So we have added a management discussion analysis letter. And what I do with this is things that stick out or what I believe might need to be explained, I add to this letter to help board members make it through. You might notice that on some of the public service things that was requested at last board meeting that we not just add the year-to-date numbers, but what happened that month so that we can see the progress. Dr. Guzman and the staff are working on like dining services and ECDC or Kids Campus and so forth, and we want to be able to show the progress of that work. Also on this board report I've included the BAR, the budget adjustment request for fiscal year 13. We didn't go over that extensively or at all in work session because we've been showing that all along. There are items in this budget adjustment request, as I had said in the work session, that will be recurring and many things that won't be recurring. But I did include this on the financial report. I can go into the report in detail. I know that we have a lot of we have limited time tonight, and so if there are, I'll just entertain questions on it if there are any at this time.
Just the Kids Campus, could you elaborate a little bit? It's looking good.
Yes, and I would, is Bob? I'll have Bob up here to talk about the Kids Campus.
Yes, we are still on track with Kids Campus, but we had an issue with some unexpected staff turnover that increased our expenses a tad. So we're going to actually, I'm going to be meeting with Maggie tomorrow actually, and we're going to talk about how we can see if we can still move it forward without, and then account for that. But that was an unexpected, 2 unexpected staff turnovers.
And Bob, why don't you tell them a little bit about what we're planning to do this summer?
Oh, okay.
When the income really drops in the Kids Campus, and I think that will really help the board understand.
Actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to bring Maggie up because our 2 new board members, our 2 new board members have not met our director.
Great. And I think they'd like to hear a little bit of what you've done in this past year to get it to a much better place.
Just as a little bit of background, we're looking at all auxiliary services, and you can see we have several, and we want to make sure that they, to the best of our ability, break even on them, and in some cases make money if we can. And Kids Campus routinely was in a rather high deficit position. We did a number of things over the past couple years, but with the assistance of the Grow Foundation, we did well last year. However, we wanted to come up with a sustainable plan that would keep us at break even or potentially, hopefully, make a little bit of money, but certainly break even. But it wasn't until Dr. Guzman came on board with her background in early childhood education, and we got a director who's top-notch in the area to really pull a systemic plan together, and I think we have one now. But I'll let Maggie address the summer program because we're making a change there.
Good evening. Welcome, new board members. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Let me first recap what the overriding goal is for Kids Campus. And working with Bob and Meredy and Dr. Guzman over the past 8 months, we really began looking at the enrollment versus the labor costs that we have. And being a part of a higher education institution, serving a great number of students, causes the enrollment at Kids Campus to go way up and way down. Up during semesters, way down in between semesters. Because we had a lot of year-round staff and because we didn't address the variations in enrollment to the labor, we have adjusted our management approach now so that we maximize enrollment, particularly during semesters, and then we have really focused on efficiency and high standards and professionalism among the staff that we have, and we did have some attrition. The plan rolled out in January with 86 students. The number of students that we had last fall was 65. We had typically had 65 students each semester for many semesters, and so the pressure on the staff was intensified. And I'm happy to say that the majority of the staff rose to the occasion. We did have a few that were unable to meet the new criteria. So that said, part of the goal in maintaining quality staff throughout the year, even though enrollment drops tremendously in half in the month between the end of the fall semester and the beginning of the spring semester, and then again between spring and summer and fall. We have designed a program to extend the services of Kids Campus to the entire spectrum of early childhood, which is birth to age 8. So we will have a summer program that starts the day that Santa Fe Public Schools dismisses for the summer, and we're hoping to have 25 children enrolled in a summer camp program who are in the primary grades, kindergarten through 3rd. They could take advantage of our beautiful new park area, and we have a classroom that's used for teacher education during the school year. It's not used during the summer. We're going to convert that into a developmentally appropriate classroom. Really looking forward to working with Dr. Guzman on some elements for that, and so that will help us through the shoulder season of summer. In polling the current families that we have, of the 85 families, about 80% of them said that they intended to take summer classes, which modified. Our original plan was to close half of the regular Kids Campus classrooms and combine them. We have 6. At this point, with the number of families who intend to take summer classes, the 30 year-round community families we have, or children we have, in addition to new students enrolling for the summer, at this point, it looks like we will have 5 classrooms open, including the primary grades classroom.
So then you would be going down 2 classrooms.
Yes, we would be blending 2 classrooms then.
And Madam Chair, how does that impact staffing? You lay people off, or how do we deal with that?
At this point, the current staff criteria, the core staff, most of the core staff is still under 10-month contract. Their contracts expire the end of May. They have historically had the option of working during the summer for extra pay. That is still an option for this summer. There are also a high number of temporary and sub-support staff that want to work through the summer. I believe we have enough staff to cover the classrooms without excess staff. A lot of people like to take a little bit of a break. The work is pretty intense, and there are periods of time that everyone is going to be taking off. So we'll be shortening the staff that way.
Well, I think that's a great idea about getting the students from the public schools to come over, the younger people to come over. It's a really good idea.
Thank you. We've been partnering with Continuing Education on that. And so the marketing, we have partnered with them on all of the marketing, and the plan was formulated because continuing education classes are more appropriate for children who are 9 years and older. The attention span, the ability to receive direct instruction and so forth is much more appropriate for older children. So we designed the camp situation for the early childhood people, and they'll have a flavor of photography and art classes, and we'll have an archaeology dig and things like that throughout the summer.
Now, is that all day, or what are the...
It is. It's all day, Monday through Friday.
Right, so working people, it is the solution for working people.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Great, great idea. Is this it?
Here is the...
Yes, we have that. That's
Oh, they have it. Okay.
beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you.
And that is so important for our community to do that, because those children were, it was like we had a gap between 5 and 9, because continuing ed has really good programs. They have good leadership programs from 9 on, but 6, 7, and 8 really need some early childhood professionals. And so I think that this is really going to serve the community and a lot of the children of staff that don't have, ability to have them taken care of during the week.
It was a very good collaborative effort with continuing ed.
Yep.
I want to add just 2 more things. There are 8 graduates who will be receiving their associates in early childhood development who have all worked and done observations at Kids Campus. And we're very, very proud of them and are very pleased to announce that there will be 8 graduates in the program
Do any of
this
them
spring.
have jobs?
Yes, they do. And I have applications for the rest of them. So they're very high quality
Absolutely.
potential employees. So they're on the A list for future employment at Kids Campus.
Yep.
And 2 of them are already employed at Kids Campus. And lastly, I would like to very much thank Linda Siegel for a fabulous legislative session in early childhood. The simplification of the pre-K application for non-PED programs is a godsend. And so thank you for that. And also, thank you for, pardon me?
More money.
More money. More money, easier to get. That's a good thing. And then also, thank you for the child care subsidy portion also is going up. So thank you very much.
For high quality programs.
Yes, particularly for high quality programs.
So that incentivizes.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
Very much. Thank
And
you.
One more thing, Mary D, the dining services. New members don't know what has transpired before. And,
Okay. Yes. Oh, he's still here. Okay. And I got a pair of glasses, so I think I can manage to get through my numbers. Thanks to Rachel King. They're not exactly my prescription, but I think they'll work a little bit better. For the new members, food services has always has broken even or done fairly well, and then we recently expanded when we remodeled, and so we had some trouble trying to get into our stride about what's the level of employees, what was to expect from that. So when Dr. Guzman came on campus, she'd run many food services before, and so she
had been a waitress.
She had been she worked at Dairy Queen, and
Yes, I did.
she reminded us that at the meeting. And so one of the things that we found is that with that we had a little bit too much staff, and that we needed greater partnerships with the East Wing Eatery in order to provide the pastries. So as staff has resigned, we've reorganized a bit in that area. We are working with East Wing Eatery. I'm stealing your thunder, aren't I? To provide the pastries, so we don't have to have a pastry chef. And the chef's here, I think, still. Chef Bezod is here, and also
Right.
Bob is here too. If you have
So is Bazad going to make all the pastries for everybody?
Well, actually, we had a very good meeting this morning, so it's appropriate this comes up. Bezod and Jerry from the East Wing Eatery met with me And I think one of our issues was that we keep looking at what's the East Wing Eateries deficit, what's the dining services deficit. And I said, you know what? We have a $155,000 deficit. We've got to look at efficiencies, starting with pastries, and then across the board, what other opportunities. Both Jerry and Behzad were very supportive of this, and so as this plan develops, we're going to communicate it to Dr. Guzman, and then after that to the board. So you will all know exactly what all three of us are going to try to accomplish to get the $155,000 deficit down. Because to me, that's what the college is losing right now. It doesn't matter which part of the organization is doing it.
Because the dining services always made money in the past.
Yeah, what made the difference is the expanded operation. So when we expanded,
Like the coffee shop and...
well, it's actually twice as big operation in itself, because there were lots of lines and it was just too small of an operation to serve our population. So then to get that stride, just about the number of employees and the menu right and how that was going to work, that's what's been being worked out over the last year. Now we're going into summer, and so that's not...
Well, but in the summer, we're closing the East Wing Eatery because there's just no way that you can keep both areas open and not just begin to lose again. And so, since that's instructional, we can close that, and then Behzad will have just the dining.
But I think, if I can interrupt, sure. I think part of it has been this perceived competition. With everyone on the same page trying to reduce the entire deficit, I think we're going to start seeing efficiencies. We'll be able to see what can sell on one side, what can be shared on the other, instead of duplicate, individually trying to sell something that's going to pull somebody away from the other. We're going to sell the similar products in both places. And that will have some efficiencies in staff. We're looking at some internship programs. I think there's a good chance that we're going to be able to turn this around.
Great. Thank you. And you can just look at the current month for both. In dining services, the net loss was $2,000. If we continue that, then it'll be year to date $24,000, and we're at $80,000. So there has been a lot of things that both Behzad and the East Wing Eatery. We talked about giving less options every day. For example, every day now we give pizza, nachos, an inexpensive meal, and a salad, and the coffee. And so our suggestion was, well, do Tuesday, Thursday pizza, Monday, Wednesday, Friday nachos, and then at the cafeteria. Yeah, that was what what happened is that there was unhappiness with the food services. And then there was a whole work around what do the students want, what do they need, and then we went from not losing money to opening up too many options that then require people to cook those options. And so now what Behzad is doing is he's coming back and saying, okay, so within, with the goal of not losing money, because any money that they lose takes away from student success. And so he is pulling back and making some differences. The same thing with the East Wing Eatery. If you look at this current month, their loss was $2,800. That would be a $36,000 loss, and their year-to-date is $75,000. And so our goal is, and most of the time, auxiliary services make money, and that money is used towards instruction. And so that's kind of the way that I'm trying to take this, is for the auxiliary services to do at this college what the expectation is at other colleges, and that is that they make money and that money goes towards student success.
So does that mean there won't be Frito pies at the dining room?
No, we would never get rid of that.
Okay,
Can't
good.
get rid of that.
Okay.
That's a great seller, I think.
That's
And
why
their
I came
hamburger, you
back.
must try the hamburger.
Yeah. They are gluten-free, yes.
All right, any other comments, questions? We need a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved to approve the financial report is submitted.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Motion passes. Next, Mary D., again, approval of auditor.
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board. We're in an unusual circumstance with the auditor for fiscal year 13. As you know, from in mid-audit, the scope of our audit changed significantly in order to get the financial statements out and so forth. Because of that change in scope, we went out for an RFP, and that was working with those current prior year auditors that said yes, they would also go out for an RFP, because if your scope is bigger, then it changes the procurement process, because it changes who might put in proposals for that.
Now, why is our scope bigger?
The scope was bigger because of the difficulty of the audit last year.
Oh, okay.
And so now, when you have, because of the audit comments of the prior audit, it increases risk, and so you make more time. Yeah, it makes more time, and that changes the scope.
Yeah, okay.
So we went out for RFPs to make sure that issue was addressed, rather than just merely amending a contract, because it also gave us data or information on how much the scope should cost in a competitive market. So we went out with an RFP, and we only received one bidder, and that bidder was an out-of-state vendor who is not approved by the state auditor. But at least it did give us information. So we went back to the auditors from last year who are willing to amend the contract. Dr. Guzman spoke to them today. We still need to negotiate the contract price. However, we need to get the auditor approved and that information given to the state auditor's office by May 1st. So we're requesting today that you approve the prior year auditor, and that you authorize the president to negotiate the contract not to exceed $200,000, which we expect it to be much less than that. We just made sure that we had
Well, how much was
number.
last year's audit?
Well, generally an audit is around, for our size, is around $75,000, and the scope increased by about $42,000.
And the companies Beta, Weiner, and Churn.
What we plan on doing, yes, and what we plan on doing, they're going to come in and do a pre-meeting. They're going to come look at where we are now, what we've done, because you know that we've put forth an improvement plan and done done all the work that we need to do. They're going to come in to assess that early, and so that we'll get a better idea of the time that it will take that they need to put in the audit. This is a high price, and I don't think that our audit should cost this much. Absolutely.
Were there problems with the former auditor?
No, there were not. There were not problems.
So why had you gone out for another audit bid?
We went out for another audit bid because we had issues with the last audit getting the audit report out with the staff, and there's a lot of issues that surrounding that.
So it wasn't the auditor?
No, it was not the auditor.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to propose we not exceed $150,000. That seems excessive, 200.
Dr. Guzman, you had the meeting with them today.
Let me tell you why I believe that I need 200,000, although I don't think we'll use it. They are going to be performing, this is more than just an audit. The audit from last year ended up costing us about $135,000. And what I would like to happen is Meredy needs the next 2 weeks to really work with the staff, because we do not have a comptroller. Okay, so Imagine this. We don't have a comptroller, and we're getting ready for an audit. And so what I have asked the auditor to do is to come in May 15th and review the issues that they found last year and ensure that everything is in place so that we will have a successful audit. Because we didn't have problems with the auditor, but we did not have a very successful audit. And so I would like for that not to happen for next year, and that's why I'm needing 30 to 40,000 additional, because I'm needing additional work to substantiate that, in fact, the staff is working in what they need in order to have a successful audit.
We might have, if we had a controller in place, and we are in the search process, by the way.
Yes.
And so, but if we had a controller in place, there are a lot of things that the auditors will have to prepare that they normally wouldn't have to prepare. Mm-hmm. And so we want to make sure that they're there to assist the staff.
And why do they have to prepare that?
Well, because generally your controller does a lot of things. They're the CPA that does a lot of prep work in reports and stuff, and we just want to make sure we're covered in case the staff can't produce what needs to be produced. Now, we know that we can hand them a working trial balance, and that's what they're used to seeing, a fully reconciled working trial balance.
And you can give them that?
Yes, we can give them that.
And every account, checking accounts have been balanced?
Yes, we just, but Dr. Guzman had the meeting with them today, so I'm just going to have to defer to that.
And that's what he will check all of them. And I think that's really important because they will know going in what to expect. And I think that them coming in May instead of October will assess how much help the staff needs. And if they need additional help, we'll get them additional help in the summer rather than waiting till October and then getting an audit like we did last year with findings.
Well, doesn't Merity have an assessment of what's happened and what we need? And
I think that depending only on Merity without a controller is unfair. She is the vice president of finance. Yeah, that's good.
Move approval of the auditor for funding year 13.
Need a second?
Second.
And we're asking for the authorization for the president to negotiate the price. And
under 200.
Yes.
I'll add that.
Okay. Need a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed.
Okay. It passes 3-1. Okay. State budget bar is the final, right? 2013.
Mm-hmm. Which button? Pushing the button. We'll just push the
Do you
button.
want a motion before approval, or do you do discussion first?
Pardon me?
Do you want a motion before discussion, or do you?
Yes, we usually have a motion and then the motion is seconded and then we have the discussion. But many times discussion, you're going to keep this group from asking questions. So it may happen at irregular times.
Well, the question that I have is, this budget approval request, is this the final budget for the year?
Mm-hmm.
Or given the concerns that were raised today, how does that play into this approval?
Madam Chair, and thank you for asking that. This approval is for the current fiscal year, so that's okay. But I will address the question since it's an important question. When we hand this budget in, it'll be what we're saying. The HED is you are giving us expenditure approval authority at this level. I believe that we will probably be going into a budget adjustment request probably 3 months into the fiscal year as we go through and work through the process, and then we'll be coming back. but you have to set a number somehow. But that's the best thing about the budgets is you can adjust as many times as you need to until you get to the final, and that allows us to lock in a number. But we might decide that we're going to do something different because the agenda items are separate. And so still, though, we can get the budget approved because that has to be to the HED by May 1st. And so all we're asking is, this is our expenditure authority that you are granting us. So for that.
Madam Chair, just a comment on that for our new members. We really do often revise the budget pretty quickly after that because it really is crazy to have the budget done by the 1st of May.
It is difficult.
When the session doesn't end until March.
Right. So what happens is we don't know our revenue streams until very, very late, and we still don't know the actual revenue streams for the local taxes. I'm going on some assumptions that were based on an assessed valuation that I don't have at this point. So that's why it always happens, and that's why I'm pretty conservative with the revenue estimates to start with.
I move approval.
Okay.
Except, what are we on? We're on the bar.
Okay, yeah, you're on the bar, and that is 2 of 3. I did put kind of what's in it. I even put a pretty decent contingency in there to make sure that we're okay, because there's so much uncertainty right now. I just wanted to make sure we were covered. So with contingency.
Second.
Push the button.
Questions? Those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passes. Thank you. Next. Faculty compensation.
Okay, Madam Chair, members of the board, as Dr. Guzman expressed in the work session, she has been working with the faculty on the faculty matrix, and what we are submitting today is the recommendation on that faculty matrix. It has adjustments, and that has been gone back through faculty many times, and we worked with faculty on that. It has adjustments to the base. It has adjustments to the years that you can receive, look at salary increases over time, and it also has adjustments to whether you have a PhD or an MA 45 and that, and so forth. That's been, this is not any change from any of the discussions that we've had in previous work sessions since March.
I have some questions. Do we want a motion?
Sure.
So I move we approve this.
Second.
Okay.
The concern that I have is the question that was asked, if the changes in the faculty matrix were done contingent on the savings that we were going to generate from the reorganization. And so I think that all of you need to really understand that the $380,000 that we showed you was allocated towards, and our goal, my goal, was not to take anything from faculty, because I think that after students, they are the most important people. And so where the reorganization was taken from administrative, it was given all to faculty. And I'm worried now that if, it's like modus ponens, if A, then B, and this is A. And if we don't do B, modus is going to be out of ponens. And I'm worried about it. So I just needed to tell you that so that you understand that that's what Mary and I, and we did it both with the faculty matrix. We made major changes working with the faculty in, if you look at the matrix changes, in changing it from 4 to 5 to 6, so that there's a wider spread between a bachelor's faculty and a PhD faculty. They felt like the other matrix was too narrow, and that their education was not being acknowledged, and we did that. We acknowledged that. And the other major change that we're recommending is the 8, 9, and 10 steps. If you look at most of our faculty, they are on the 7th step, and they have been on the 7th step for years. And so they were stuck. And, you know, frankly, I don't understand how there can, you know, it can be said that the morale is low when the matrix was changed and has unstuck, you know, about 45 faculty, and the changes in the salaries between bachelor's and doctorate were greatly expanded.
But it's a sample of 15. It's a sample of 15.
Is that this is not independent.
That's
Right,
correct.
right.
That's correct.
And you know, it's the morale. It's a sample of 15. I don't believe that can be generalized to the rest. But that's aside. That's aside. That's not the point right now. I think we need to table this.
I withdraw my motion and I move to table.
I think we
Till
need
we
to table it until we know
resolve all of
further.
these issues.
So we have
And
a motion.
I would like some discussion. I also want to make a comment. I think it's problematic to say that faculty are more important than staff or administrators. I think this place is integrated. Everybody is valuable. Yes, our faculty serve our children, but without our staff,
Absolutely.
there is no, you know, well-functioning faculty. And so
Absolutely.
when you say they're the most important, I think that
Well,
it's not a good thing to say, that it's all about all of us trying to work together.
Okay, and I agree with you, but the rubber meets the road with the faculty. And it is the faculty who do the teaching of the students.
Absolutely.
And without these changes in the prior budget, staff earned more than faculty. And faculty were stuck in 7. And it did not make sense to me that faculty was undervalued by keeping them at 7 steps. And it does not make sense to me when I have met with faculty, when I have listened to what they needed and when I have seen the undervaluing, that they're still low morale.
But it's not just about money.
Oh, I understand that, but let me tell you, money is really important.
I know. And I want everyone to get a raise, and I think we'll figure it out. There may be money elsewhere. I mean, that's part of, I mean, we seem to find money in all these little pockets, so.
Well, we're trying, but we haven't found it yet.
I agree about tabling, but I think what this does is it gives us an opportunity to all get on the same page.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They need to see the relationship between what they requested tonight and the request for funds. So I think we need time for that.
But
and
I also.
data's good.
Yeah, data is good. I also don't want that to be perceived as a threat, that because faculty came and spoke to us, that there are issues, that now we're taking away your money. We're not. We're postponing this, and we have a lot of issues to work out well beyond money.
Right. So I have a motion, and it's been seconded, so I need a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. This has been tabled. And then the staff compensation, Mary D.
Yes.
Is that also tied to the reorganization?
Well,
What we did is we looked at what Meredith thought the taxes would bring in and think. Now, everything is tied, okay?